Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to our channel Easy Cloud Trip. Today we are going to explore Microsoft Fabric. So let's get started by seeing what is Microsoft Fabric, what we can do with Microsoft Fabric. So basically, Fabric provides an end-to-end analytics solution, starting from the data engineering workloads till the serving layer, like a reporting layer. We can do everything inside a Fabric. It's a part of software as a service family. If you take Azure Data Factory, it is a platform as a service. And if you take Azure Synapse Analytics, it is a platform as a service. If you take Azure Databricks, it is a platform as a service. But if you take a Fabric, it is a software as a service, like a Power BI. It's similar to a Power BI. Power BI is also a software as a service. And next thing, when come to a Fabric, this is where the interesting things will happen. So Fabric is a unified solution where you can have a end-to-end solution inside a Fabric, starting from the data engineering workloads till the reporting layer, till the analytics layer. You can have everything inside a one place. So basically, the first thing we will see inside a fabric. So what all that? So now let's take a look. Like what are all the things we can do inside a fabric, and then we will go, a little bit deep to understand, even much better. So first we can do Synapse data engineering. So we will call data engineering. Okay, data engineering will be data engineering workloads, basically data engineering workloads is similar to like a transformation kind of thing. Like if you are doing any transformation, or if you are manipulating your data, if you are adding or removing, if you are doing anything with your data, that everything will come under data engineering workloads, right? So those data engineering workloads will be handled by the Azure Synapse Analytics. S- Okay, so that's why I'm calling this as Synapse Data Engineering. So next thing, data integration. Data integration comes like is similar to what ADF, Azure Data Factory. Basically, you are extracting a data from one place and you are ingesting into the other place. Data extraction process, data pushing process. This we will do. We will call as a data integration. That will be done by using the ADF, or we can do by using Azure Synapse Analytics. And the third thing is data warehousing. So it's similar to a kind of a dedicated pool. In a modernized world, we will call a data warehousing solution. We will use Azure Synapse Analytics as a data warehousing solution. So if you go a little bit, the right term for a data warehousing is equivalent to the dedicated pool. We will say a dedicated pool in Azure Synapse Analytics. So that's a part. So data warehousing solution also can be utilized, from Azure Synapse Analytics. So we can implement the data warehousing solution, data integration solution, and data engineering solution by using a Synapse Analytics. And a fourth thing, come to a data science. You can implement ML, machine learning models. You can train your models. You can do everything within Azure by using Azure Synapse Analytics. So these four things: data engineering, data integration, data warehousing, data science. So these all can be achieved through the Synapse. Okay, that is why we are calling a Synapse data engineering, Synapse data integration, Synapse data warehousing, Synapse data science. And coming to the real-time analytics, yes, by using a Synapse, we can do a real-time analytics. So that's why we are calling a Synapse real-time analytics. So five things, basically five. Well, most of the things will be handled by using a Synapse. And coming to the last two part, power business intelligence. When come to the business intelligence, this is the layer where we are preparing our dashboard, we are preparing our reports, a final layer where business can utilize this layer to take decision. So that's where we are utilizing the Power BI. It's a software as a service. So coming to our next thing, insight to action. It's not yet released. It's not yet released to the market. So we will see once it's released in deeply. So basically, if you see the things, so most of the things will be handled by the synapse. Okay, so behind the synapse, so the computer Spark is the basic, basic for a synapse. So basically, without Spark, nothing can be done inside a synapse. Okay, so for a data engineering, for a data warehousing, the base computers SQL. For all other things, the base computers Spark. Right. So these are all the see, consider that in a traditional system, if these are all the individual things, okay, nothing is much collaborated. So we can since everything is happening as a individual places, individual task, so the collaboration is very less. So that's why Microsoft introduced this fabric where we can collaborate, okay, each and everything, much closer, so that it will be, very easier for a data any data engineer or any data analyst or any data scientist to perform their task. So you can ask me. So basically, it's similar to doing a job, right? Like even in a even it is a separate services, we can able to collaborate it. Okay, but the thing is, if I'm building an Azure data factory, okay, like if I have one Azure data factory as a separate service, if I have one Azure Synapse as a separate service, if I have one Power BI as a separate service, think about that. Every services will be managed, okay, need a management. Every services need a separate storage layer. Every services need a data movement. This is where the important part will come. Every services, if you want to communicate with each and every services, data movement should be done, right? So these are all the things which will take time, right? Which will take time, which will need depends on other services too. So for to address all these problems, your fabric is a one unified solution where they have collaborated everything, and all these are going to share only a one storage layer, which we call as a one lake, where we are going to store all the files or all the data in a one storage, which we call as a one lake. Okay, so that's where the beauty of a fabric, that's where the beauty comes for a fabric. They all these services are going to share a one storage, which we call as a one lake. So it is a one copy of a data where, or one source of a truth, where each and every service is going to utilize it. So think about this, in a traditional, if you want to use the same data for another service, of course you need to move from one layer to one storage into another storage. The storage may be different. You can use a one you can utilize a blob storage for one service. You can utilize a ADLS for another service. If you want to make a copy from blob to ADLS, then you need to do a integration, data integration. You need to take from a blob, you need to push into ADLS. So think about the data movement. Again, it is a cost for us, right? So for these kind of for problems, the unified solution they have brought is a fabric. So basically, this is a fantastic feature. It is a one lake and one copy of a data where each and every services is going to utilize it. So next comes to a scalability. Of course, whatever the services provided by the Microsoft, it is scale out. We can scale up and we can scale down at any time. Depends upon the load, right? So that is also scalability is also available for Microsoft Fabric. And come to the next part, the format. The I say is a one storage, right? So you can store n number of formats. Okay, the default format is Delta format. You can store Parquet format, you can store JSON format, you can store CSV, you can store a number of formats, but default format is Delta. And coming to another important feature here is you can create a shortcut. You can create a shortcut for your external storage location inside your one lake. Think about this one. Like if you want to create, if you have a shortcut, so my all these services will use this shortcut to talk with the external storage location and external files. All right. So that's additional important feature where Fabric is having. And coming to the security, so Fabric for maintaining, for administrating a Fabric. So one role they have introduced called a Fabric admin, where that role or is responsible for uh, administrating what is happening inside the Fabric. It's like a giving access, it's like a restricting the access, it's like setting up the data source, everything. So in existing Power BI, we do have a Power BI administrator. It's similar to kind of a Power BI administrator. In a Fabric, we will call a Fabric administrator. So coming to the another feature, so Fabric is having a wonderful data governance. So basically, data governance. So I hope we all know what is Microsoft Purview. So Microsoft Purview is a data governance service where we can go ahead and see our data lineage, where my data is traveling, where what are all the my data, what for my company, what all the data are there, and how my data is traveling, from one services to another services. Like these kind of lineage we can see by using a Microsoft Purview. And I can also able to control the services, and I can also able to reutilize the data. Suppose if I'm like designing a Power BI dashboard, I want some of the data from finance. What I'll do, I don't know where what are all the data sets provided by the finance team. So what I'll do, by a Microsoft Purview, I can able to search my data set, my required data set, and I can utilize the data set. So these kind of data governance, this is what Microsoft Purview is providing. Coming to a Fabric, like extracting a data sensitivity labels feature from Microsoft Purview. So basically, what is data sensitivity labels? So if suppose consider that I'm having a credit card table where my credit card number, where my PIN number, everything is stored. So everyone is not allowed to query that table, correct? If anyone is queried that, even though when anyone is querying that table, the data should be masked, or else data should be a column or a row should be classified as a it is a secret information, or it is a confidential information. So it can be categorized, it can be labeled. Basically, depending upon the label, we can provide an access. So these kind of features, this kind of features we can do in a Microsoft Fabric. A few years ago, Microsoft came with a certain job roles as a data engineer, data analyst, and data scientist. So, based on the nature of our workload, they have came up with a certain job roles, and for a data engineer, they do have a particular certification. For data analyst, they have a particular certification. For a data scientist, they have a particular certification. So now, if you see that three roles or individual roles. Now, when we come to a Fabric, we can see all these three roles are, much we can collaborate it. So basically, data analyst, data scientist, and data engineers can work more collaboratively by using this Fabrical tool. So if you see, data engineers will use a Synapse Analytics, and also data scientist can use a Synapse Analytics. Data analyst can use a Power BI. So see, like if all these three roles peoples have a common, underlying storage, which is we call a one lake. So the major purpose of this Fabric is to work with a much collaborated, way. So that's why the pack Fab Microsoft has introduced this Fabric. And when come to the fabric, so we can enable the fabric at a tenant level and also a capacity level. So what is tenant level and what is capacity level? So when we say as a tenant level, so at organization level, I can enable fabric so that it will be so applicable to all the persons who sits under the organization, so they can go and they can play around. So, but if I don't want to create a fabric at organization level, if I want to create it at capacity level, which means if I want to create at a group level, I hope you know all right what is Azure Active Directory group. So, if I want to create a fabric at a group level, I can also able to do that. And coming to our last part, of course, so if you came across the services in Azure, so most of the services, first we need to create a workspace. So like how we have done for Azure Synapse Analytics. So first we need to create a workspace. So workspace is a high level, so we high level which manages all the workloads which is happening inside that. So like a same, it's same like a Azure Synapse Analytics in a fabric also. We need to create a workspace, and the workspace should have a premium tier. So it is a must in fabric, it should have a premium tier. And also if they also they also provide a free trial, so though you can go ahead and utilize that trial, to create a workspace, and you can play around by using a free trial for some 60 days. So this is all about important features about fabrics. So as a whole, what we can say, a fabric is built on top of ADLS Gen 2 storage and a Power BI, which includes the capabilities of Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, and Azure Machine Learning. So this is what we can say. This is what a definition which defines what is Microsoft Fabric. So this is all about a Microsoft Fabric introduction. So in upcoming session, we will go a little bit deeply. What is Lake database? What is Lake House? So what and all we can do inside a Lake House? Okay, because if you see the Fabric, the one lake is a most important part in Fabric, where we need to understand much deeply, right? So this is a storage area. So basically all types of formats we can store in one lake. So default format is Delta. We can also able to store in Parquet, JSON, CSV, and why not as a table. uh, so this is all about this is all about we are going to speak in future session. So let's stay connected. Thank you for your valuable time. Once again, thank you so much.